Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. This ancient Stoic wisdom holds a profound truth that's as relevant today as it was centuries ago. Stoicism isn't just about enduring pain or hardship. It's about finding the incredible strength that comes from knowing when to say no, when to prioritize yourself, and how to truly be there for others without losing yourself in the process. It's about mastering the art of not setting yourself on fire just to keep others warm. In today's world, where kindness and generosity are often seen as virtues, it's easy to get caught up in the idea that we must constantly give and give, without ever stopping to consider the cost to ourselves. We're encouraged to be the rock for others, to be the ones who always show up, who always lend a listening ear, who always offer a helping hand. And while these qualities are undoubtedly important, they can also lead us down a path of burnout, resentment, and exhaustion. This is where Stoicism comes in, an ancient philosophy that offers a powerful antidote to the pressures of modern life. By teaching us the value of self-awareness, self-care, and boundaries, Stoicism shows us that true kindness and generosity begin with ourselves. When we prioritize our own well-being, we become more resilient, more compassionate, and more capable of making a positive impact in the world. If you find value in our journey, please hit the subscribe button and watch until the end. You're different from the majority. Consider yourself an exception. We'll uncover the 4 key areas that will transform our understanding of kindness and generosity. By exploring these 4 areas, we'll gain a deeper understanding of how Stoic wisdom can help us cultivate a more sustainable, compassionate, and empowered approach to kindness and generosity. We'll learn how to prioritize our own well-being, set healthy boundaries, and give without expectation, leading to a more authentic, resilient, and impactful life. So, are you ready to start your Stoic journey with Stoic Control, where timeless truths meet everyday life? 1. The trap of excessive kindness. Have you ever felt like you're constantly running on empty, pouring from a cup that's already drained? You're the go-to person for everyone's problems, the one who always says yes to every request, favor, and plea for help. It feels good to be needed, doesn't it? But what happens when you look around for someone to fill your cup, only to find that you're standing alone? This is the trap of excessive kindness, a cycle of overgiving that can lead to burnout, resentment, and exhaustion. We get so caught up in being there for others that we forget to be there for ourselves. We neglect our own needs, our own desires, and our own well-being. And in the end, we're left with nothing to give because we've given it all away. The Stoics knew this trap well. They understood that excessive kindness can be a form of self-sabotage, a way of avoiding our own fears, desires, and insecurities. They taught us that true kindness begins with self-awareness, self-care, and boundaries. We must learn to prioritize our own well-being, to fill our own cup, before we can truly be there for others. But why do we fall into this trap? Often, it's because we're trying to fill a void within ourselves. We may be seeking validation, approval, or love through our acts of kindness. Or perhaps we're trying to avoid feelings of guilt, anxiety, or inadequacy. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. We overgive and we suffer the consequences. The signs of excessive kindness are clear. We feel drained, resentful, and exhausted. We start to feel like we're losing ourselves in the process of giving to others. We may even begin to feel like we're being taken advantage of, like others are exploiting our kindness for their own gain. So how can we avoid this trap? How can we cultivate a more sustainable approach to kindness and generosity? The answer lies in setting boundaries, prioritizing our own needs, and learning to say no without guilt or shame. By doing so, we can break free from the cycle of excessive kindness and discover a more authentic, compassionate, and empowered way of living. 2. The necessity of setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish, it's about being intentional. It's about recognizing that our time, energy, and resources are finite, and that we must prioritize their allocation. When we fail to set boundaries, we risk overcommitting, overextending, and overgiving. We risk losing ourselves in the process of trying to meet everyone else's needs. The Stoics understood the importance of boundaries. They knew that true freedom comes from within and that we must learn to say no to others in order to say yes to ourselves. By setting boundaries, we create space for self-reflection, self-care, and self-growth. We create space to recharge, to renew, and to rediscover our passions and purpose. But setting boundaries can be challenging. We may fear that others will see us as uncaring, unkind, or ungenerous. We may worry that we'll miss out on opportunities, connections, or experiences. We may struggle to assert ourselves, to communicate our needs, and to prioritize our own desires. However, the consequences of not setting boundaries are far more severe. We risk burnout, resentment, and exhaustion. We risk losing our sense of identity, our creativity, and our joy. We risk becoming mere shadows of our former selves, drained of our vitality and our purpose. So how can we set boundaries with intention and integrity? How can we communicate our needs without guilt or shame? The answer lies in self-awareness, self-compassion, and self-expression. By understanding our own limits, desires, and values, we can establish boundaries that honor our true selves. By prioritizing our own needs, we can create space for authentic connection, meaningful contribution, and lasting fulfillment. 3. The danger of being seen as too available. Being available for others is a virtue, but being too available can be a vice. When we're always accessible, always willing to help, and always ready to lend a hand, we risk being taken for granted. We risk becoming the go-to person for everyone's problems, the dumping ground for everyone's emotions, and the default solution for everyone's needs. The Stoics warned against this danger. They knew that being too available can lead to exploitation, resentment, and burnout. They taught us that true strength lies not in being constantly available, but in being intentionally present. By setting boundaries and prioritizing our own needs, we create space for meaningful connection, authentic relationship, and lasting impact. But why do we risk being seen as too available? Often it's because we're trying to prove ourselves, to earn love and approval, or to avoid feelings of guilt and anxiety. We may feel like we're not enough, like we need to constantly demonstrate our worth and value. But this approach only leads to exhaustion, frustration, and feelings of being trapped. So how can we avoid being seen as too available? How can we maintain healthy boundaries while still being supportive and caring? The answer lies in self-awareness, self-regulation, and intentional communication. By understanding our own limits, desires, and values, we can establish clear boundaries that honor our true selves. By prioritizing our own needs, we can create space for authentic connection, meaningful contribution, and lasting fulfillment. 4. The art of giving without expectation. Giving is a fundamental aspect of human connection, but it can also be a source of stress, anxiety, and burnout. When we give with expectation, we risk becoming entangled in a web of obligations, reciprocity, and resentment. We risk losing the joy of giving, the freedom of generosity, and the simplicity of kindness. The Stoics taught us the art of giving without expectation, of offering our time, energy, and resources without attachment to outcomes or recognition. They knew that true generosity lies not in what we get back, but in the act of giving itself. By letting go of expectations, we create space for authentic connection, meaningful contribution, and lasting fulfillment. But how can we give without expectation? How can we cultivate a spirit of generosity that is free from attachment and obligation? The answer lies in self-reflection, self-awareness, and intentional action. By understanding our own motivations, desires, and values, we can give in a way that honors our true selves. By prioritizing our own needs, we can create space for authentic connection, meaningful contribution, and lasting fulfillment. So what does it mean to give without expectation? It means giving without attachment to outcomes, recognition, or reciprocity. It means giving without expectation of reward, praise, or gratitude. It means giving simply because it feels good, because it aligns with our values, and because it brings us joy. Giving without expectation also means embracing the present moment, letting go of the past, and releasing the future. It means trusting that our giving will have a ripple effect, impacting lives and communities in ways we may never fully understand. It means surrendering our need for control, our desire for validation, and our attachment to specific outcomes. By giving without expectation, we open ourselves to the possibility of true connection, meaningful relationship, and lasting impact. We create space for the unexpected, the unplanned, and the unpredictable. We invite surprise, serendipity, and synchronicity into our lives. As we journey through the complexities of kindness, generosity, and compassion, we come to realize that true strength lies not in our ability to give, but in our ability to give without expectation. We learn that kindness is not a finite resource, but a boundless capacity that grows with each act of generosity. We discover that the art of giving without expectation is not a sacrifice, but a liberation from the burdens of obligation, reciprocity, and resentment. By embracing the principles of Stoic kindness, we create space for authentic connection, meaningful contribution, and lasting fulfillment. We cultivate a spirit of generosity that is free from attachment and obligation, and we open ourselves to the possibility of true connection, meaningful relationship, and lasting impact. If you found value in our journey together, we humbly ask that you express your support by liking and subscribing. Your thoughtful reflections and insights are welcome in the comments below. Share this wisdom with others, and remember that true growth and transformation come from within. As we close this exploration of Stoic kindness, we remember the wisdom of Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We choose to react with kindness, compassion, and generosity, not because of what we hope to gain, but because of who we aspire to be. In the end, Stoic kindness is not a destination, but a journey of self-discovery, growth, and transformation. It's a journey that requires courage, resilience, and determination, but one that promises profound rewards, a deeper sense of purpose, a stronger sense of self, and a more meaningful connection to the world around us.